Hello YouTube, Totalhenry here, and I'm back with another episode of what I'm reading and watching. This is the weekly show where I tell you about the manga and anime that I've read over the past week. As always, in the description below, you can find a table of contents that will show you the list of series that I'm talking about, the list of animes that I'm talking about, and when the video I'm going to be talking about them. I do want to apologize because last week I said I would be reviewing the new Shonen Jump title, Devilly Man, but that series actually is going to be coming out next week, so I will review it then. So please still stick around. This is going to be a good video. Starting things off, we have Toriko, as usual, chapter 323. I thought this was a good chapter, even though last week I said that I was done with Toriko, I didn't really care about it. This chapter did intrigue me. There was a lot of interesting development and plot being explained through the whole chapter. I still don't like that Toriko's heading this direction with all this plot. I do think it's interesting, but that's not what I originally liked about the series. I liked how carefree it is, and I think it's getting a little bit away from that. But I do find what's going on now a little bit interesting, and I think the next arc where they go to find the fish dish another is not going to be as weird as the pear arc, and that's what I mainly objected to. So I am looking forward to seeing what's going on because this was an interesting chapter and they explained a lot of things, but still leaves more questions. And the ending also left you wanting more. Next up is Bleach, chapter 626. This was an okay chapter. There has not been enough action, so I'm a little down on Bleach right now. I did like Ichigo's conversation with Grimmjow. That was probably my favorite part of the chapter. And then the last page of the chapter, the sort of statement, the big sort of ending, I didn't think that needed to be there because I felt like it was already established. Now, one thing I want to share with you guys is every week in Shonen Jump in Japan, the authors will put a little comment. And in America, that gets translated to English. And I want to read you guys what Taikubo said about this week's chapter. I drew Grimjo for the first time in a while and was reminded how much of a pain his hair is to draw. I want him to get a haircut. And I just wanted to share that with you guys because Grimjow was one, my favorite character, and two, I thought it was funny. And I guess there's a third thing. I've tried to draw Grimjow. His hair is impossible to draw. It takes a long time, and I really respect Type Kubo for making him look cool. A lot of effort goes into that. Next up is One Piece, chapter 786. This was an okay chapter. I'm not really a fan of this whole 10-minute thing. That's not what I wanted to happen. And I guess if the character at the end, I guess that makes a final appearance, if he's going to be fighting, I don't know, it might be cool because he hasn't, I don't think we've seen a lot of action with him. But overall, it's just, I sort of wanted Luffy to keep fighting. I thought it would be interesting if he kept fighting even when like he's tired and everything. So I don't know, just I don't want to say it's a cop out, but and also I don't want this 10-minute thing to last like 5 chapters. I think they were getting so close. I was so excited, and now my excitement is going back down again. Like Oda had me right where he wanted me to be, and then he just kind of dropped me. Okay, next up is Nisekoi, chapter 170. I like this chapter. It was a very cute chapter. Raku and Marika, they make a good team. I don't really like her, but I don't know. She was enjoyable so far in this little arc. I am curious about what happened at the very end. I'm wondering what is wrong with her, whether she's sick or what. And she kept, well, I don't want to tell you what she kept saying. I don't know if that's a spoiler. I also wonder how long this arc is going to last, and just yeah. So Nisekoi, enjoyed this chapter. Yes. Okay, next up is Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 118. Those a little color page spread. I liked it. Nice, vibrant colors. But now onto the actual chapter. This was a really good chapter. It was the first chapter in a while where they weren't cooking, as far as I can remember. They weren't even in a restaurant. They weren't... No food whatsoever. And they met the Council of Ten this chapter. Really cool character designs, and just reminds me again of how awesome the art is in the series. I love the art. That's one thing that keeps me coming back to the series. And there was really funny dialogue amongst the Council of Ten and the first year students that were in the fall classic. So it was great, a lot of humor, and Soma's line at the end was probably one of his greatest moments in this entire series. So great chapter for Shokugeki no Soma. Next up is My Hero Academia, and this is probably next week's chapter is probably like the most anticipated chapter of all of these chapters, because the final is set for Todoroki and Bakuda, the half fire, half ice guy and the explosion guy. I'm butchering their names, so I have to tell you about this. And I just can't wait for this final match. I hope this is like a several chapter long thing. And there's also that villain thing that's going on in the background, so I'm interested in why the author is choosing to introduce this now, and if that's going to play a role in the final match. My prediction is Todoroki, the half fire, half ice guy. I think he's going to win. Mentally, he might be a little bit off after his fight with Midoriya, just because he's now doubting whether he should use his fire power or whether he should only use his ice power. But I still think he can pull it out. I think his quirk is just too much, and he's really smart. Plus, he's like my favorite character, so I feel like I should root for him. Next up is Haikyuu, chapter 157. This was a good chapter. There wasn't really much to say here. They're just blocking, spiking, and this is going back and forth. And the second set is a very tight game, and right now you don't really know who's going to win, but the flightless crows, they have to win right now. Karasuno, they have to win, otherwise if they lose this set, they lose the entire match. And I'm pretty sure they're going to win just because they already had like their one loss in sports manga. They usually have like one big loss and then they keep going. It's sort of a generalization, but it's just something that I've noticed, like one big loss per team. So Haikyuu, I enjoyed the chapter, but there's never really a lot to talk about. Next up is Black Clover, chapter 13. This was an awesome chapter. I love Black Clover. There was great action. This is probably the, I don't know, first real fight. This is like the biggest fight that they've had so far. New, interesting magic, and the ideas in this chapter, the magic, are just so cool. It's so creative. I love this chapter. They also talk more about that other country that they mentioned in the previous chapter. And I'm liking that they're bringing this other country into it because it adds to the whole world. And I think I can sense some more conflict. Some more conflict is coming that could help carry throughout the whole story. Not just this arc, but the whole manga in general. A new character comes in, some new bad guys. So it's pretty cool. And again, the action is what made this chapter great for me, especially the last page. Really well drawn, really cool, really creative. Read Black Clover. It is incredible. Next up is Naruto, the 7th Hokage and the Scarlet Spring, chapter 700 plus 3. This was a great chapter. Naruto, Sasuke's daughter Sardaya, and Choji's daughter Chocho are heading out. And I'm wondering, why is Choji's daughter doing this? Like, why is she here? Out of all the characters that could have gone with Naruto and Sasuke's daughter, why her? She's like the least interesting in my opinion. I would rather have Naruto's son. I'd rather have a Sarada Boruto team up. I think that would be really cool, and there's some sort of like, I don't know if it's tension, but there's something going on between them. It's not romance or anything, but there's just some rivalry or something. That's tension, rivalry. That's something like that's going on in between them. So it's kind of cool. Um, a little bit of action in this chapter, and at the end of this chapter, it looked like Naruto did the fourth Hokage's like teleportation yellow flash technique, which I didn't know he could do that. Maybe they'll explain it a little bit more in the next chapter, but I don't think he was ever able to do that. Maybe you guys can correct me if anyone watches this. Please correct me in the comment section below if he does, if Naruto can do that. And the last thing I wanted to say that I wrote down is I love this series and I get so excited whenever there's a new chapter coming out. And this really is living up to the old Naruto. It's going back to the earlier things that I think a lot of people liked a little bit more. So that's it for the weekly series. These are the series I talk about every week. Next up is Jumpstart. I've explained Jumpstart before, but Jumpstart is when the new series in Japan come to America and we get the first chapter. Or no, sorry, we get the first three chapters, and then one of them, the ones the fans like best and we vote on, gets to stay in America's Jump. So this time around it was Straighten Up, Welcome to Shikahai's Competitive Dance Club by Takayuma Yokata, and Devilly Man by Kentari Fukuda. And now Devilly Man I thought was going to start this week, but it's actually going to start next week, so I apologize for that. But Straighten Up Chapter 2 I read, and I can't see myself getting into this series. One reason is I don't like the art. I don't think the art is all that good, and it just bugs me. I have a hard time getting into the series when I'm distracted by the artwork. And I'm also not interested in dance. That's not something I see myself getting interested in. I can read any sports manga and get interested in it because I like sports. You could say dancing is a sport, but I don't know. I personally can't get into it. And in this chapter, the main character, he just learns to dance, and he meets a female character, Uri Watari, and they sort of become good friends. You can see that they're going to become the dancing pair and start dancing together. As I was reading this, I was thinking to myself, one, I can't see myself getting into this, and two, this doesn't seem like the series that is going to stick around in Jump for very long. I hate to say it, but okay, that is it for this week's fantastic video of what I'm reading and watching. Please keep watching all my videos. The Pokemon videos are going to keep coming. I'm almost done with Gen 1, probably within a few weeks. I hope to have other art videos and maybe some other content. Tell me what you want to see in the comments below.